Hello. Another week has gone by, another visit to my dad, and guess what? Another clock. So this time, battery powered carriage clock, and the thing at the bottom doesn't spin, and also it's got a button at the bottom for some form of chime, but it's not chiming. Well, it doesn't change. It's always on the same time. There's meant to be 16 different chimes. So let's see what we can do. Let's take it apart and have a look. So the first thing that I've done already was just check the batteries. Batteries are absolutely fine. So we're going to have to delve a little bit deeper and see what is wrong with this clock. So let's take the batteries out. Might need something to wax. It's quite deep down. Always quite tricky to get to these. There we go. You can see it's you're not going to get your finger in there, and there's no sort of ribbon to pull the battery out. And the clock has a separate battery, so there's obviously one for the chime and one for the movement, and then a separate one for the clock itself. But on the clock, it's got these wires here, which I assume. Can I come in a little bit closer? I assume these wires go off down to here and connect to the chime mechanism. So let's go back to the desk view. Right, let's see how to get into this thing. Just getting a screwdriver. My dad promises me this is the last broken thing he's going to give me for a while, so I'm going to have to try to find another source. That said, I've got a list of things that I need to work my way through. You may have noticed in the initial uh, sort of picture at the start of the video, there was a big BB behind me, so I've got that to sort out. And as as I do this more and more, people keep saying, "Oh, you like broken things," so I seem to end up with a list of things to fix. Some of the things I've got to do though is a ColecoVision gaming console from the 1980s. That's more of a personal passion than a fix. So they do need fixing, but also they're modding. I'm modding them so they're able to output to HDMI. So I'll do a little mini series on the ColecoVision and sort of common faults and how to clean them and restore them, and share that with you guys and also the ColecoVision community. Right, so I've taken screws out. It looks like a bit of a challenge to actually get into the thing. Are there any clips? Okay, so it's just, I think it's a little bit stiff and some clips somewhere. It's always worth taking your time when you do this bit. Okay, right, what do we have in here? So, um, one bit that not horrifies me, but worries me a little bit. There's a chip underneath a blob of plastic, referred to as a blob chip, and that will no doubt be the little computer that does all the different sounds. If that's at fault, there's nothing you can do because you can't get to those, you can't change them, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Then what do we have down here? This is just a I know. So this is the mechanism for making the thing spin. Right, okay. So the spinning thing has no electrical connection to the clock itself. So what's going to be easiest? Shall I take that off altogether? Should I desolder it? Let's see if we can. Ah, right, okay. These come off here. These mats are very handy because each stage that you take the screws out, you can put them into a different section, and then you know where you are. You're not going to sort of lose your place. I might have to desolder those two yellow wires that run up to the clock itself. All right, okay. So the second that I went to move this, I felt it was quite stiff, and then all of a sudden just released itself. So maybe that is as simple as it was just seized a little bit. So let's just get one of the batteries that I took out. Oh, batteries. Got the old batteries off to the left of me. Pop this in. No, no, it's still not playing ball. It's this little switch thing here. It doesn't really tell you which way's on, which way's off. It's trying. So pull off. Right, okay, let's desolder these yellow wires so we can take the bottom piece off altogether. I give this somewhere I can get to both pieces without messing about. There we go, that's that one off. That one off. So put that to one side. Don't have to worry about that too much. Now we can pull those wires through, put the clock to one side, and I can get to this a little bit easier. So it says start in that direction, but it seems to have an arrow pointing in both directions. It's definitely trying. Do we just have a broken cog of some sort? Roll this left off so I can get the mechanism off. Right, so let's unscrew this here. I need to slightly enlarge a bit. Comes off there. So this must lift off somehow. Oh, that's quite delicate plastic, so if I'm going to prise it off, it's got to be from underneath the actual thing itself. I can feel it going a little bit, so let's do a little bit from either side. So it's gone quite a way. Oh, there we go. Okay, right. So this is the mechanism that turns. If I get any further into it, does that come off? That comes off as well. So it's kind of starting to go, but not quite. So maybe it's just seized. Wait, can I get into the mechanism itself? What's this do? Ah, right, okay, hello. We have some loose cogs. That didn't look very healthy. Right, okay. Hmm. So how does this work? It goes there. Right, so that's the drive for the main thing itself. Oh, it's got some sort of bumper. So it can only go so far, one way or the other, back and forth. Some electronics off to the left-hand side. And what is this? It's some sort of clutch rail or flywheel. Well, it's got lots of little broken bits on it, so it's definitely seen better days. And let me zoom in for you. Right, so on here, this is the wheel that's come out. See all these bits broken off. Not quite sure what all that is. So something, I'd say it's been degraded because of the fact that I can't really see this being physical damage getting inside there. So my initial thoughts are this is not going to be a repair. What is all that stuff? Is it some sort of magnetic? Is that stick? Yeah, it's magnetic, isn't it? Right, so this is all degraded and flaking away, so let's just take the loose bits off, but I don't think, well, ultimately I think there's nothing we can do about this. That's a shame. Now there is a coil of copper wire, so maybe, how did this go on? Right, okay, so this would go on there. So I think what should happen is this coil gets some form of magnetic charge or some electrical charge in there. Then that will create a magnetic field which causes this to turn one way or another, I suspect, which in turn moves moves these cogs, which moves the pendulum back and forth. Now, I think because this is degraded, there's going to be nothing that we can do about that. I don't know what the material was. Can't even tell the shape really, because it seems a bit odd. Yeah. And then what is this? There's some sort of powder that's underneath, or is that just a foam? Is it just peculiar shapes? You see, these are sort of rounded off. So maybe these are sort of like lines. So as the magnetism from the electric coil turns on, these go closer and further away and closer and further away like that, which causes the pendulum to swing back and forth. But that is totally gone. Isn't that weird? Okay, well, I'm going to say that this is beyond repair because there's nothing I can do with that piece. So let's just reassemble it so we can just put it back together. How's that going? That goes in there like that, I think. But it's interesting to see. We can turn our attention to why the chime doesn't chime properly. Put that back on there. Take the battery out because it's not really going to do anything. And where's the other piece? Let's switch the camera back. Actually, this is not the piece we want to look at. It's something here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so I think the only thing that we could possibly do with this, let me get closer cam again. So you can see here, we've got the blob chip. Everything else looks healthy. So I think the only thing really is just check the health of the switch on the other side. Just about to see underneath, if I turn it over, you can see that there's a switch and a button. So I will take this apart a bit more, see if we can clean out those switches, see if that fixes the issue. What have we got underneath here? Okay, is that muck? It's difficult to tell sometimes. So just get some cotton swabs. Where's my alcohol? Just move some bits out of the way. These little dispensers are really cool. Just a couple of presses. The alcohol pops up the top. You get a small reservoir where you can just give everything a little bit of a clean. Oh yeah, there's definitely some residue of some sort. But it may just be residue from when it was in the factory, when it was soldered together. But anyway, let's give it a bit of a clean. If this doesn't work, then there's not much we can do. So if it is that blob chip that's failed, gosh, there's lots of gunk coming off this. Is it gunk or is it the original sort of graphite that creates the connection? So let's just connect this up, see if we can get it to make a chiming noise when it's not connected to the clock itself. There's no sign of liquid damage or anything like that on the top. So, Okay, I'm going to guess that you can't hear it off my microphone because the noise cancelling's too good. Um, but okay, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I think that's the chip that's gone because the um, the push button is making contact absolutely fine, and uh, basically it's going through a cycle, but it's doing the same chime, I don't know, 10, 11 times. Then it clicks for about 4 times. Then it does that bird's cheeping noise for a couple of times. Then it goes back around again. So that sounds very much like the actual chip has gone. Can just do a quick test of the components that are on there, see if they're okay. But dare say they are. Right, let's just switch to the multimeter. So just check the resistance on these three resistors. That's 1.2 kilo ohms. 3 kilo ohms. And what have we got at the bottom there? 156 kilo ohms. So nothing like crazy readings. We can check from the colours, which I'll have to pinch my phone off the stand and look them up. I don't know if anyone else actually knows what the colours are off the top of their heads, but I very much don't. Right, this is the cheats way of doing it. Use resistor value of brown, red, gold. So 1.2 kilo ohms. So that sounds good because that's what it measured as before. I can't remember the other ones, so I'll have to measure them again. Resistor value of orange, black, red, gold. This next one's 3 kilo ohms. So I think that was what we had. Just do a check. Yep. And what's the last one? Resistor value of brown, green, yellow, gold. Then we can just check that little transistor and see if that's okay. But I very much suspect it's a dodgy block chip. It says 150k, so let's just check. I think it was about that when it measured before. Yeah, there or thereabouts. So let's just do a quick check of diode mode on this transistor to see if it's shorted or anything. I think if it was shorted, then the actual circuit wouldn't work at all. So no. Oh, getting the measurement that way. Nothing that way. Okay, so that there's no measurements in either direction of those two legs. So that's a bit suspicious. So what we can do is desolder it and actually check it on the transistor checker. I'm gonna have to put my little specs on. to do this. Little flip down specs that go on my glasses. Move my alcohol out of the way. I'm already getting congested with stuff on my desk. Wait for that to get up to temperature. See if I can be. Should have taken the batteries out. That's not good. Right, let me take the batteries out before I completely blow everything. Gosh, it's getting hot. Let's get some tweezers. I always use these ceramic tweezers for this because they don't conduct the heat, which is a good thing. There we go, that's got that one off. Find my transistor checker. So this one, no, yes, I think. Just double check. Yep. Sort this drawer out. Give it a little test. I'll pop that on there so you can see what it does. So yeah, it's reading as a transistor. I'm not too fussed about all the values. It's not reading as shorted or anything like that, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that. But yeah, it's reading fine. Nifty little tester that I have there. So yeah, I suspect that's the blob chip that's gone on this. So all in all, not a fix. But let's get it back together. Maybe I can just touch over the solder point again and just make sure it's all okay. I think it went that way around. Oh dear. That's a top tip for you. You know, take photographs whenever you desolder things so you can remember where they go back in. Really, I should take the solder off altogether, but I'm being a bit lazy here. Probably go back in. Come on, please. There we go. Happy days. I'm going to have to add a bit more solder into that because it's all kind of come off as I've desoldered it. Touch up the solder joints. You might get lucky, might be cracked solder joint. I very much don't. I just think maybe the blob chip's just got to an age and given up the ghost. A little bit of flux helps the solder flow nicely. Is there enough solder on my iron? I don't think there is, and it's half fallen out. Great. Nicely. Same for that one. just looking at all the other solder points on there, they're all absolutely fine. Let's just touch some of these up around the chip. That one's around the switch, but I don't think it will make any difference. Yeah, sometimes with electronics, and that one was quite loose. As electronics heat up and cool down, they can cause the solder joints to crack. If they do crack, you end up with either a poor connection or no connection. People call them crack joints, cold joints, but ultimately it just means that the joints have moved over time with the heat going in and out. You know, we all know things expand and contract with temperature. So it's a possibility. In this case, I don't think it is, but it's worth a try. Let's get the button popped back in there. Push this down. So that's not those ones. They were from the base of the pendulum motor, weren't they? That's better. It can be very easy to strip out plastic lugs when you're screwing things in, so sometimes it's good to get it into position. If it feels like it's got some resistance, as in too much resistance, what you might want to do is actually go counterclockwise for a bit until you hear a little click. You shouldn't have to do it for more than one turn, and that means it then pops into the groove and then you can screw it in normally. If you're sort of kind of off the thread and you do that, try to screw it in, you can end up rounding out the joint, making it worse. Yeah, it's doing the same as before. Oh, that's annoying. Right, anyway, let's get this all back together from the ground. Oh my word, so blimey, that's noisy. Right, okay. So this goes back on here. Okay, so we need to get the motored pendulum back on, even though it doesn't motor. Interesting seeing that mechanism though. Not sure what I was expecting to see, but I don't think I was expecting to see that. So that goes on like that. We can put those bits on. Should I put them on now? That just pushes on. the wires go through this little hole. So it looks a little bit crooked, so let's go. I'm interested to see what happens when the clock moves around. It's got these two little wires that come out. Do we think that's just a open and close switch, or do they provide some sort of voltage? So let's have a little play with that. Which way around does this battery go? Right, positive at the bottom. Right, so that's ticking away. So I'm going to get some more of the multimeter clips. We can have a little play with this and see what the clock does. Not sure if this will actually tell us anything, but I'm interested to see nonetheless. So I'm going to put onto continuity mode. Although I discovered that there's no way I can get the beep to be heard over that lapel mic, so I need to get a different mic for doing these sorts of videos. You have to just trust me when I tell you that it beeps. So I made a click noise, which I assume is on the hour. Nothing seemed to change on the continuity. That was past. Look at it. Made that small click noise again. Does it put out voltage? Let's have a look. Really slow. Clicked. Must do something, surely. Let's try the resistance. No. Okay. Very much doubt it'd be a capacitor type thing. No. So I can hear it click. I can hear the clock click. But nothing seems to happen to these wires. Let's just put it on continuity again. See if. Let's just test the leads themselves. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, they are doing something. It was beeping, I promise you. Okay, well, it makes the click noise. on the clock. I can hear the almost like the hands, like a mechanical click, but nothing seems to happen on the multimeter. No idea. Okay, let's get them soldered back on. See what happens. Click on things again because I can't see what I'm doing. Actually came off from those 2 points there. Okay. On solidly. Is that turned to a volume of some sort? Yes. Oh, that made me jump. Oh my days. Right, set up now. Wow. I don't know if you can hear the chiming, but it's not my cup of tea. But let's get the screws back in, get it all put back together, and then sadly, not a fix. But that's the way things go. At least we know now. There's no point putting that battery back in because it's not going to do anything. And there we go. All sorted. So I'll see you again next time I have something to show.